everybody. Welcome back to Challenge Call with Max and Avery. I'm your host, Max.
And I am Avery. How are you guys?
All right, good to be back with y'all. We did not do our somewhat usual kind of midweek episode. We're trying to go to 2 episodes a week here so we can get a before and an after. But life is crazy, so that is still being worked on. But Avery, how are you doing?
Oh man, I'm a lot better now. Had a hell of a weekend, some vehicle issues, but we're back and school's kicking my butt. But other than that, man, I'm here, barely hanging on by a thread.
Hanging
Maybe.
on. All right. Well, why don't we get into it and get right into Cubs Corner? Avery, give us our Cubs update.
Cubs suck. No, they are 79 and 73. We're second place in the NL Central. There's only 3 series left, but man, we went 3-7, or 3-7. Yeah, 3-7 in the last 10 games. So that's not great. We're fumbling the bag. I think we're about to. We're like barely in the last wild card spot right now. So it's not looking great at all. And we might pull it off. Who knows? I mean, we do play the Rockies. That could be 3 easy wins right
That
there.
that should be, I would think, seeing both teams play, I would think that the Cubs should be able to beat the Rockies fairly easily.
Yeah, the only bad thing is then we play the Braves, which are the best team in the NL Central, and then or NL, and then we play the Brewers, which are leading our division right now. So it's not looking great. I mean, even if we do, we could pull out maybe one win against the Braves and maybe sweep the Brewers, but it's not looking good as a Cubs fan.
In theory, how many games of our last, 9? 3 games in a series? How many games of our last 9 do we need to win to ensure that we stay in the playoffs?
I would say 6.
6?
In theory. 4 is a possibility, which I think is doable. I think we could pull off 4, but 6 to feel confident. I think 6. We would have to go 6-4 in the last 10, or last 9, or 6-3 in the last 9.
Okay, so 3 against the Rockies, and then hopefully beat out the Brewers a couple times. Maybe pull one off against the Braves. That's our best bet.
Yeah, that's it. But hopefully we're playing October baseball. We will see.
We will find out. But more importantly right now, we've got football going on regardless. So first we'll give you guys a fantasy update of how our fantasy league is going. I took my first L this week, unfortunately. I played a very, very good team, put up almost 200 points. Not that I would have won anyway, because I barely put up anything. It was a rough week for team only fans. This week I'm looking at a hopeful win, 52% projected right now. I don't know. I'm nervous about it. When it's close like that, like when it's anywhere in the 50, even 60%, I don't trust those chances. You know, it's football. Anything can happen. Players pop off. Players don't do what they're expected to do. It is chaotic and all over the place. So who knows? I'm 1-1. We'll see if I keep a winning record after this week. How's your team doing?
Well, you mentioned like even in the 50s, there's no chance. I was at 57% chance to beat last week, and I ended up losing 134 to 147. Unfortunately, that sucks because I still scored 130 points. Justin Fields is really killing my team right now. So I feel
the man
okay
who
with
tried
my
to
team.
trade me Fields.
Yeah, I did try to trade you Fields. You didn't want him. You don't believe. But I made a major trade yesterday. We have a keeper league, and I did make a trade yesterday. People think I'm an idiot for it, but I don't think I am. I think it's going to come out on top. I traded for Alvin Kamara, Justin Herbert, and Darnell Mooney, and I gave away Tank Dell, Jared Goff, and Zeke. I also gave up my first-round pick next year and my fifth-round pick next year. So I'm all in this year. I am all in. I got a good feeling about it. I needed Justin Herbert, right? I needed a consistent quarterback. He's number 2 in fantasy football right now, and he always balls out for the Chargers.
Really
So
sacrificing the draft stock there.
I did, but maybe Justin Fields can turn it around in the next couple of games, and then I can swing him to some other team and get at least a second round pick back. Maybe
Well,
that's my
we'll get
thought.
more into it later, but Fields will be taking on the Chiefs this week. But before we get into our NFL games, we're going to talk a little college ball. Starting off with Iowa's win against Western Michigan. Iowa did pull off the win, 41-10. Kind of like we expected. Iowa was leading, and we kept scoring points, even at the very end. We went for it, and we ran up the score as much as possible because Brian Ferentz knows that he can't actually complete his bonus obligations if he wouldn't have run this game up.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't like scoring with 30 seconds left in the game on 4th and goal. Come on, dude. Just kneel the ball out, go in. Just, it's done.
I mean,
But
I'm
we,
good with a field goal. Like, 4th and goal, kick a field goal. That's normal, Like,
yeah,
I personally am pro like scoring. So like even if I were calling it and it's the end, I'd be like, yeah, kick a field goal, put some more points up there. Like you want to try to beat the fuck out of another team, But still, just it knowing the contract that's where it all comes into play is the contract bonuses. That's where we're like, oh, going
hmm
for it, are you?
yeah. And dude, I was nervous in this game because in the first quarter, Western Michigan was winning this game 7-0. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like we talked about it last week. We talked about this could be closer than we would like. Yeah, it got out of hand at the end of the game, especially at the end of the game, but it was scary for a little bit there.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't start watching till about halftime. I think it was about halftime by the time we hit the road from Chicago. We're on our way back home, and I pulled it up. So I didn't get to see the unfortunate first half, but the score when I did check in, I believe, was slightly nerve wracking or slightly what I expected. It was pretty low score. Iowa wasn't doing a
14 to
ton.
10.
Yeah, 14 to
Yeah.
10. So like up 4 points, I was like, yep, sure enough, Iowa's doing just enough to win. Like
You were the good luck charm. Well, and dude, we had another rain delay. How many rain delays last year did we have in the year prior? I feel like Iowa always has a rain delay.
that worked so much in my favor though, because if there was no rain delay, I would have maybe caught some of the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Whereas I got to watch the whole second half on the way
which
home.
is nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice. But yeah, Cade didn't play the greatest, but we don't really need him to. Our defense is starting to take off, but I don't know, man. I just still feel like we're struggling. I mean, I think our offense is still struggling. Oh, and Luke Lachey's out for the year,
Yeah,
so
that's what's gonna hurt us big time. Seeing Luke on the sideline on crutches, that just big
that's not.
yikes there. Hopefully Eric All is, I know we were using both of them a little bit, but hopefully he can just be the solo guy. He can be the tight end of the season in place of Lachey. Hopefully he'll carry that load and we can still advance with some wins. This upcoming game, we'll get more into it. I don't want to jump the gun, but Penn State, this is the game that's going to be really determining in my head for how our season is going to be.
I agree. Yeah, I just one thing also I noticed with Iowa, man, is where is our defense? Like, I mean, I know we held Western Michigan to 10 points, but is they don't look the same like they did last year. And of course, we got graduating stuff like that, but I don't even know if we're a top 25 defense right now. It's
Probably not. I think it is just the guys that we had left. Like the guys that left. Jack Campbell,
Lucas
Van
Finesse.
Ness, fucking Merriweather, even just Riley Moss. Like we lost a lot of dudes that played for us. Not even if they weren't necessarily starters, some of them that I'm just not thinking of. even if they weren't starters, they were heavy rotation guys, I'm sure, that got in on a lot of snaps and just knew what they were doing and were consistent. And so when you graduate that many guys that are getting a good chunk of reps for you, it's gonna hurt. Like I was fully expecting this. I was fully expecting the defense to at least take a step back. Now they might be taking a little bigger step back than I kind of would hope for or expect, but I I was worried about this happening.
For sure, they're still keeping us in games though, and I mean we really haven't played any true test. Even Iowa State, we haven't played a true test.
Yeah, and speaking of Iowa State, that's our next game. Iowa State played Ohio, not Ohio State, but Ohio, and they lost 10-7. So that really shows you how good State is this year.
Yeah, that's rough, man. I mean, Ohio is 3-1. It's hard to say Ohio without saying Ohio State.
Well,
Um,
when you weren't the first person to tell me that, someone at work said it, and I had to like clarify for a second. They're like, "Oh, Ohio beat Iowa State," and I was like, "Wait, Ohio, Ohio State? Like what?"
yeah, no, I really thought like Ohio State. See, now I'm saying it. Ohio is just. I mean, they look good for a MAC school, so I'm glad they pulled it off against Iowa State. I just really think the gambling allegations really hurt Iowa State this year, man. Like, they're starting a freshman. They're not going in with Hunter Deckers that was supposed to start for them. Rocco Beck is their starter, and he's struggled all year. And it brings it back to was Brock Purdy. Did Brock Purdy make Matt Campbell? 3 years ago, Matt Campbell was this coach that was on NFL scouts' minds or like NFL GM's minds of being a head coach in the NFL. And now I'm trying to figure out if Brock Purdy was the maker of Matt Campbell.
Well, and like you said, with all the gambling allegations and losing your quarterback above anybody else, like that's going to hurt you, even from a coaching standpoint, that's almost worse than just having a not solid quarterback because you're going in, you're game planning, you're working your whole season around this one guy, and then all of a sudden he can't go, and you're on your second guy who you have prepped nothing for, you have tailored nothing specifically for him, and all of a sudden he's your option. So that's rough on a coach, I'm sure. And just to go back, another thing with Iowa's defense, like you brought up the gambling allegations, Noah Shannon, he's serving a 1-year suspension. So there's another defensive piece that we're missing. Like that, those allegations, those charges, whatever you want to call them, they hurt both of us, even
Yeah.
us on defense. Like you
Well,
can see where it's hurting.
and I'm hoping kind of since you're talking about Iowa injuries, I'm hoping that Luke Lachey gets a red shirt, medical red shirt this year because he only played what a game, 2 games, 2 games officially now, and so I guarantee he'll probably end up getting a medical red shirt this year. I'm hoping, but
Probably. The real question would be, even if he did medical red shirt, I feel like Luke Lachey is a guy who could still, like, teams are going to look at him,
oh
like they're not going to sleep on the fact like, oh, he was hurt all last year, sure, but like we know who he is. We know where he comes from. Like it's tight end you. He was uh, a helpful piece behind Sam Laporta last year. I think there's still potential that he could go.
I do
Maybe
agree.
not as high as he would want to. That would be the key. If he
Well,
wants to
and that's what I
stay
was
to be a
about to
higher
say.
pick, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was about to just say. Like, I mean, it just depends where. Like, if he's going fourth, fifth, sixth round, I see him coming back to Iowa and playing another year and balling out.
Yeah.
But if he's like, if they're still giving him that first, second round grade, like they were right in the like early mock draft of the year, I don't see him coming back. I think he takes his chance and he gets prepared and ready for the combine.
That's fair. I could totally see that too. But we'll move on a little bit here. This was a super riveting game. I don't know if you watched any of it, but I was up till 1 a.m. watching this thing go on. Colorado took on Colorado State. in their famed rivalry that has been revived with Deion Sanders coming to Colorado. Colorado did win it in double overtime, 43-35. Did you catch any of this game?
Yeah, man. So, like, I know you were talking about it a lot and hyping it up, and so is my buddy Phil. And I don't know if you remember the freaking Jacksonville playoff game last year, the Jaguars Chargers, when I was in bed and I had to work early in the next morning, and you and Phil kept snapping me about this damn game. It happened again, all right? I got like 3 hours of sleep. I had to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got like 3 hours of sleep because of this damn game. Uh, but I ended up going to bed at halftime and I recorded it and I watched it on my way to work. It's probably why I almost hit a dog. But anyways, so I watched it on my way to work and I didn't look at the score. I didn't look at anything and I just watched it when I was at work by myself. So it was nice. But man, what a game. Wow, what a game.
It was crazy. I think Colorado was actually down, and I was watching. I was kind of nervous. I like both teams. Like, I don't mind Colorado State. I'm not a big like fuck state guy. Even in Iowa, it's the same principle. I'm not a huge fuck state guy. Like, when they're not playing Iowa, it's whatever. Kind of same with Colorado State. I kind of like both the teams. I vibe with them, but I was pulling for Colorado in this one, and I was a little nervous there down toward the end. And then finally they scored. I think it was a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie the game up. And I was like, holy shit, they did it. Like, Shador does it. And overtime, I was happy because, it gave Colorado a chance. When the second overtime hit, that's when I was kind of like, all right, guy, I got to go the fuck to bed. Like, let's wrap this thing up.
For sure, man. I got a couple of points on this game. One, like it was a thrilling game, right? Like back and forth. But Colorado beat Colorado State, right? A Mountain West school. They're 0-2. They lost Washington State 54-24 in week 1.
Washington State's also ranked like 8th, but
yeah. And I'm not I'm not taking anything away from Washington State, but it was a Mountain West school and it went into 2 overtimes. Like, I mean, I know it's a rivalry game. Throw all of that out. You're going to play your rivals tough. But at the end of the day, it was still a Mountain West school and they struggled, especially in the third and fourth quarter. I mean, the real test, and I'm not taking anything away from Colorado. I think Braden Fowler Nicholsi played the best game of his fucking life for Colorado State. He balled out. And Jay Norvell, their head coach, had them ready to play Colorado.
Definitely. And you could see, like you said, it's a rivalry. You're going to play your rivals hard. Like, you could tell right off the bat, these guys were just like, these teams hated each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could tell the players immediately were just like there were fights. There were literal fights going on like half of the game. I was
the late hit on Travis Hunter.
Exactly. Yes.
And dude, the safety's getting death threats right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Deion even had to come out and say, he's like, y'all, like, he's a football player. This was a football play. Like, like, back off of him. Damn.
Yeah. No, this game had everything you really wanted. And I mean, you expect nothing less from Deion Sanders, right? I mean, everything with Deion like this, it's always going to be a primetime show when it comes to Deion Sanders. But at the same time, like, he's backing up what he came to say. This Colorado team won 1 game last year. He flipped it on a script. So, like, I'm giving him credit. Like, but at the same time, like, people are talking about them being national champions and like in the playoffs and everything like that. I'm like, slow your roll.
Yeah. National champions is a bit much. I think they're a good team. I think they're a good, like, they definitely deserve to be in the top 25. I think there's no doubt in my mind they're a top 25 team right now.
Right.
Playoffs is like, that's tough. That is tough. We'll have to see how the rest of their season goes, but they'll get that challenge, up once again. We'll get into it, but number 10 Oregon, that's going to be the kind of like Iowa versus Penn State. That's going to be the game maker right there, the decision maker of like, okay, are they for real? Are they for not? But
For sure.
also, just speaking a little bit to, you're saying this is a Mountain West team, whatever, playing a Pac-12. Did you hear that the Pac-12 and the Mountain West conferences are actually discussing doing like a promotions relegations type system, just those
No.
two conferences? Yeah. One of the coaches was talking about it today. They're actually talking about, or they're in talks with like the winner of the Mountain West Conference moves up into the Pac 12, and like the lowest record or losers of the Pac 12 conference go down to Mountain West, and like making that the system in place for those two conferences.
And how can you do that though, right? I mean, like, there's only two teams in the Pac-12 right now. It's the Pac-2 after next year, like Oregon State and Washington. So, like, my question is, are they gonna like split it up into a different like aspect of things? But I did find this article. I think it would be a cool idea. I mean, we've talked about that how many times? I
Yeah.
think I think every see, and this is my mindset. We might go on a little tangent here, but this is my mindset with everything. Every big major conference needs a little brother for this reason. Like in the Big Ten, it should be the MAC, right? I think the MAC should be our little brother because it's in the Midwest, MAC school. I think for the Mountain West, it should be the Pac-12. For the SEC, I think it should be the American, or not the American, the
The
Sun
Sun
Belt.
Belt.
And for the ACC, I think it should be the American Conference. So, like, I think every conference should have a little brother where if they win their conference, let's move them up. And then, like, schools like Vanderbilt, maybe Iowa State this year, they get sent down
Yeah.
for a year.
I think that only improves college football. I think that makes things more competitive at the top. Like
For sure.
you get better teams in there playing, and you get worse teams that just are, a beat up every year. You get them down to a level where they can actually compete and maybe build it back to come back. Maybe you actually get some ground to go down a conference, build up a little confidence, build up some skill, whatever, come back and be better than you were before. I think it'd be a great thing for college football. But yeah, the Mountain West would probably have to divvy up some schools, and they'd have to throw like a chunk of them in the Pac 12 right off the bat, just to, like you said, make it an actual decent sized conference. And they might have to pull in a few other schools too. Like they might have to pull in some, hopefully still Gen 5 schools, potentially raising up a couple of like FCS schools in the Big Sky or something. I don't know how that would
Yeah.
work, but you do need to fill in some football teams. You need to
Well, and
you
the
need to
Big
get some teams
Sky,
in there.
Missouri Valley, those would be the littlest brother. I mean, like,
Yeah.
those are, yeah. And you can have three tiers of it. I think it's a great idea. Um, the one thing I forgot, I don't know if we ever even mentioned it on our podcast, but Stanford and Cal are leaving the Pac 12. That's why it's the Pac 2 now. And they are joining the ACC, which is just really random. But I
The
forgot to mention
Atlantic
it.
Coastal Conference, the
Yeah.
two teams on the Pacific.
Yeah. And so is SMU, Southern Methodist University in Texas. So uh, those three schools. So I think what's going to happen is they're probably going to put like the Big 12 championship probably somewhere in Houston where SMU is, so they can just meet in the middle if those teams go. But yeah, super weird. Those two teams, it's like putting Hawaii in the ACC. Super
Yeah.
weird. The geographic of college football is so fucked up. But
It's completely messed up now because everyone is trying to space their conference out because of TV and like TV deals, network deals, all of that stuff. So instead of having actual geographic locations now, you want to cover as much ground as possible so you can have the most people watching your conference and shit.
for
But
sure.
um, last game we'll talk about here, recap wise for college, two top 25 matchup here. We have 25 ranked Florida versus 23 ranked Tennessee. Big rival there. Florida pulled it off 29-16. This is another game I actually watched in the car when we were on the way home. Also, our players before their game on Saturday watched the first episode of Swamp Kings,
Oh
the
yeah.
Urban Meyer documentary on Netflix. So low key watching Florida Tennessee after seeing their documentary where they're talking about going against Tennessee and stuff, I was intrigued. I had to watch.
For sure. Yeah, I didn't watch this game at all, actually. So, but I'm surprised Florida pulled it off. I mean, Tennessee was ranked 11th. How did Joe Milton play? Tennessee's starting quarterback.
Tennessee's quarterback. I don't remember really. I don't remember a lot from this game, not gonna lie. I remember kind of watching it at the time. I think I was also tagging film, so I wasn't like paying super close attention to it per se. I just was like, I saw Florida, Tennessee, knew from the documentary, knew they were rivals, and was like, okay, yeah, I want to have this on. I'll give it a listen. But yeah, Florida did get the upset with Tennessee. I couldn't tell you how the players actually played. You'd have to look up their stat lines or something. I didn't
For
pay
sure.
that close attention.
I do want to mention one more game, and I forgot about it. Alabama versus USF, University of South Florida. I heard about this game. I watched highlights of this game. Alabama struggled against the USF. Like this is the type of game where Alabama comes out and they demolish. I mean, for the whole first quarter, USF was up 3-0, and then it was tied in the second quarter 3-3, and then in the third, Alabama pulled it away and they won 17-3. But this is not a Nick Saban type college football team. Like
I
Nick
mean,
Saban
yeah,
does not.
Alabama is definitely having a down year. We knew that. Once again, you can somewhat expect that just from
They don't
like
have a quarterback.
yeah, they lost their quarterback. Like
But at the
how are you
same
going to
time,
win without a quarterback?
they're doing Jalen Milroe dirty. I mean, he's definitely the best quarterback. You just got to adapt your system. He's a running quarterback. I mean, Ty Simpson does not look like he's the answer for Alabama. Neither does Tyler Buckner. I think the one thing is Jalen Milroe needs to start, and Nick, you need to figure it out with him. Um,
You got to
and
use the
they also
pieces you
lost
have.
Bill O'Brien. What's up?
You got to use the pieces you have.
Yeah,
You can't. We were talking about this at work a little bit earlier, even with Justin Fields. Not to get too much into it, but when you have one style / type of quarterback, you need to make your system revolve around that style of quarterback when he's your guy. Like if he's your guy and he's the only guy you got and you don't have other options to put in your system, you need to change your system to fit the quarterback if that's your only option.
I agree. And that's 100% correct. And that's something Alabama's going to find out the hard way. I mean, they lost their offensive coordinator and Bill O'Brien. He went to New England this year. Nick's just struggling. We'll see. We'll probably see Alabama back up on top in 2 years. I mean, it is Alabama. But Bill Belichick hasn't been back on top yet when he
Yeah.
fell from grace. So
We've,
who knows, man?
who knows? But we've already alluded to a couple of these upcoming games. We might have to change how we do this here. Just go straight
I
from
was thinking the
recap to
same
upcoming.
thing.
But we'll get into our upcoming games right now with Iowa, number 24, versus number 7, Penn State. That is being played at Penn State. That is the night game on Saturday.
Whiteout.
What's what?
It's Penn State's whiteout game.
Oh, Penn State's whiteout. And Iowa's wearing black pants. So
Yep.
there you go. But no, this is the game to me. This is the one that's going to kind of determine how I think about Iowa for the rest of the season. I'm not saying if they lose, I'm out on them or I think they're trash or anything like that, depending on how they lose. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, no, Penn State they struggled against Illinois last week. They only won 30-13, but prior to that, man, they won 63-7 against Delaware, and then West Virginia they won 38-15. I mean, they played really good this year. I mean, I'm hoping our defense can come up and play. And we need to start making takeovers. Like right now, we have not I haven't really seen many like interceptions or defensive touchdowns. That's what kept us in the game the last couple of years. Like I need Cooper DeJean to show up like this year. I need Joe Evans to show up. I need our playmaker guys to show up and perform.
Well, and it's hard to do that, like we have Cooper DeJean, and not to knock our other DBs at all, but our other DBs I think are just less proven. are less veteran, and so when you're an offense scheming things up and you're looking at where you're trying to place the ball, when you see Cooper DeJean on the field, you typically design plays to place the ball away from that kind of guy. Like you want him out of the play, away from the action, not risking throwing a pickup to him. So it's hard. It's hard for kind of like we saw Riley Moss, junior year, ton of interceptions, senior year, not quite as many. Well, because you're not targeting guys that are being covered by Moss. So it's difficult in that sense. And what else was I thinking of? I had another thought, but I lost it.
Yeah, I'm hoping we pull this off. I'm really thinking like we're not out of this game. And that's
No.
what I'm gonna say. We're not out of this game. I think we're the fourth best team in the Big Ten, and I hate to say it. I don't know if that's the biasy coming, but I mean, I think it goes Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and us. And I think Penn State and Iowa aren't that far off from each other. I think at the end of the day, we can pull this off. We beat them 3 years ago. I mean, totally different team, totally different dynamic, but it's still a Kirk Ferentz led team. And usually when we have a top 10 team, we can pull it off.
The biggest thing that makes me nervous is kind of like we've already talked about with this episode. Luke Lachey is down.
Yeah.
Cade is questionable. I don't know if he's down per se, but Cade obviously isn't 100%. He's got something going on with his leg, and I want to say he aggravated it at the end of the Western Michigan game. I don't know if it was because the score was jacked up or if Cade was just feeling sore and hurt, but they did end up putting Duncan
Max
in the Wisconsin, the Wisconsin transfer. So, I'm a little nervous about the condition of our offense because, like you said, our defense isn't as stout as it was, and that means the offense has to really kick it into gear and actually score some points to help the defense out, or even just eat up clock to help the defense out.
Well,
the offense is looking a little banged up, so I'm a little nervous about that aspect.
And and that's what I was about to say. Aren't we gonna? Jazz isn't playing.
Jazz isn't gonna play.
No, Jazz is hurt, and then so was another one of our running backs. I forgot who it was. But yeah, both of them are hurt. So I don't know, man. I'm nervous. And if we got to roll with Deacon Hill, well, I mean, I don't think there's a shot. I mean, with Deacon Hill. And it's not that Deacon Hill and Cade are that different of a quarterback. I mean, Deacon Hill is a monster of a man.
I was going to say, size-wise, they are quite different. But
oh, yeah. 6'4", 260 pounds is insane. That's a big Ben out there. But at the same time, man, it's just the presence that Cade's been in these big games, and Cade's a true leader, and Deacon Hill is a sophomore that doesn't know, he doesn't know. He's never been in that aspect. I mean, he was third string for Wisconsin. He's second for us. I mean, he might be the future of Iowa football, but right now it's Cade's show, and we need him out on the field.
For sure. I'm nervous with our offense looking a little banged up, but also that could also just go to show, if this is a close game, if we lose by 7, in my head, that's just going to be all the better, because that means if we can lose a game by only 7 with Luke Lachey out and playing Deacon, I think we have a good, without Jazz and without our other running back, if we're that down bad and we still did that, I have pretty high hopes, for the season. Also, just, I love Deacon. He's a great guy. I get what you're saying and everything with it comes with experience. It comes with leadership, all that jazz. But I just got to throw out that I do love Deacon. I really enjoyed him over the summer.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm hoping Iowa can pull it off for a 13%. 13% chance of winning. So according to ESPN, I mean, at least it's not 0, right?
Yeah, right. Hey, it's never 0. But going into our next game, our next what do you want to call it? Prove it game, whatever. 19 Colorado versus 10 Oregon. This is going to be their in conference top 25 matchup type team that they're going to play. Now, when you look at it, the odds look a little better for them. I mean, you got 24 versus 7 compared to 19 versus 10, but still, it's the same principle. This is going to be Colorado's. This is going to be Deion Sanders. Like, hey, are you legit? Like, some people, Avery, are still out there questioning some things. So here you go. Play number 10, Oregon. What are you going to do?
You know what, man? I don't think they pull it off. I mean, I've been doubting Colorado all year. What do you expect? I truly don't. I don't think they pull it off. I think Oregon, and this is the reason why. Colorado, like I said in the first 2 episodes, right? Colorado's offensive line and their defensive line can't hang with the best offense and defensive lines in college football. Right now, I mean, they haven't really played a great offense or defensive line. The best one they had was Nebraska, and Nebraska had 8 sacks on their offensive line. Shedeur Sanders was running for his life. Oregon is built like a Big Ten school, which they will be a Big Ten school next year. They have the best defense in the Pac-12. They have big men up front on the offensive line. And I just don't think Colorado, yeah, they got great playmakers, but Travis Hunter's also going to be hurt. And that's going to be a major player for Colorado. And I'm not saying I don't believe in Colorado. I'm giving them their flowers. Like, they won 1 game last year. They've already won 3. They don't have to win this game.
For sure. But no, what you just said, it's the same boat as Iowa. It's the exact same boat. Like, Travis Hunter is out, and that's gonna hurt. And that's not even the offense. Like, that's not even like just gonna hurt the offensive production. Like, he plays both ways.
Yeah.
So that's gonna hurt offense and defense. Like, that's gonna affect Colorado from a whole team standpoint, him being hurt. So I am once again kind of nervous about this one. Like, I'm not 100% sure they hold up either, missing such a key piece of their offense team, just their team, a key piece of their team as a whole. But I still think they can keep this one decently close. I think Shedeur is the real deal, obviously. We'll see about their O-line. That is definitely going to be a focal point. You having said that, of my watching it, is I'm gonna be watching that line, and I'm gonna be seeing what they do. But I'm gonna remain somewhat hopeful. Once again, even if it's a lose by 3 type of game, like, I can accept that as like okay, Travis Hunter's out, you lost by 3 to top 10, like, you're sitting pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're gonna get blown out, but to me, man, I think it's a 37-21 ball game. 37-24, 37-28. I'll give them a 10-point spread, but like, I don't think that's it. Like, I think they have a better shot of beating USC than they do Oregon. And they play USC the following week.
So you're going to take Oregon -9.5 is what you're saying.
I'm thinking so, yeah.
All right, I'm going to take Colorado on that +9.5. You're on.
All right, man. You can't do that. You're a college coach.
I can't do that. No, there's no monetary or prize, but I have given up no entry fee and will be given no winning prize. So therefore, it's technically legal for me to make.
Well, there you go. Well, and I mean, but it is going to be a cool game because Shedeur Sanders is playing Bo Nix. Both of them are in the Heisman race right now. So I think that's going to be, and I'm not giving, like, Shedeur's played amazing. Like, he played amazing again against Mountain West, Colorado. I had to mention Mountain West. But Bo Nix, he's playing incredible this year too. So it's going to be a good game to watch.
Definitely. Speaking of a Heisman showdown, I actually don't know if Ohio State's quarterback is in the Heisman race, but number 6 Ohio State is playing number 9 Notre Dame. And I know Notre Dame's quarterback is in the Heisman race, and I'm just super interested in this game just because this is a top 10 matchup right here. One in the Big Ten, one just a school that one of our other coaches is a fan of, so I get to hear about Notre Dame all the time. So top of my mind, had to throw this game on here. I don't know what to think of it, honestly. I've yet to watch Ohio State play this season. I know I've watched a little bit of Notre Dame. They look good. Sam Hartman's got the team looking good. But I can't say I'll necessarily watch this game either, though, because it's on at 6:30 p.m., same time as Iowa. So I will be busy.
Dude, I'm excited about this game. I really am. they're split on this game, 65.8 to 34.2. That's the biggest, you know. But dude, I think Notre Dame pulls this off this year. Like I for some reason, well, one, Ohio State's not been great this year. They haven't played great football. I mean, they play good football. They're Ohio State. They're always going to play good football, right? But Kyle McCord is a freshman or a sophomore, and he just hasn't shown what he is capable of yet. And so I think this is the 1 year away for Ohio State. I don't think they are, back to contenders yet. But Sam Hartman and Notre Dame is fun to watch. They run a pro style offense that is just like, I don't know, man. I think Notre Dame wins this game, and people start talking about Notre Dame as the real deal this year.
Definitely. I think I don't know if Notre Dame necessarily wins. I'm not super confident in saying that. Like I said, I have not watched Ohio State at all. But just as far as preferences go, I'd say I'd like to see Notre Dame pull it off. It's somewhat of an underdog matchup because you got 9 versus 6, and especially just with a powerhouse like Ohio State versus Notre Dame, who people often say like they don't have a tough schedule or they're not that great, whatever. So I do see it as an underdog matchup, and I always love an underdog, and so I'm happy with seeing Notre Dame pull this one off, hopefully. But we'll move on from college. We're a little over halfway here, so we will get into some NFL. We're actually going to start off with a Bear Central segment right now because we've got some shit going down in Hallis. So, first of all, we will talk about the Justin Fields statement. Avery, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so Justin came out and his first original quote was that he blamed the coaching on that screen, that pick six he had. Blamed the coaching and played.
Now,
He's
and when you say blame the coaching, in his exact words, he said something to the effect of, what did he say? I'm playing stiff, or I'm playing
I'm playing
whatever.
robotic.
I'm playing robotic. It could be coaching.
It could be
To
coaching.
quote what he said.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. To quote what he said, and to me, I don't think. But you know how the media is, right? The media eats everything up. One thing he did come back out and say, like, you guys try to make it something it wasn't. I never meant to blame Luke Getzey. I just want to play like myself, and that's that's coming. Those are like true words from your starting quarterback. Like I don't know why people are saying, "Oh, he's selfish. He's going to be out of Chicago next year." I don't think so. I think this is just a rough patch. This is a rough week. Yesterday was a terrible day to be a Bears fan. I jokingly resigned being a Bears fan temporarily. I'm back. I'm back. I'm a Bears fan, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's a somber feeling going into Sunday, but maybe Sunday is just what we need. Like, don't you think if we go out and we just beat the Chiefs, that I mean, like things just flip automatically, and we're like, whoa, we beat Kansas City.
I highly doubt that's going to happen. I highly doubt anything flips. I highly doubt we beat the Chiefs. But in theory, sure, it'd be a nice win. Get a
Yeah,
little confidence, start moving forward. Like, yeah, it could be good for it. Even losing, but managing to get some points up and like doing some good things, I like could be a little bit of a confidence boost. Uh, this season's this season's over though. Even if we do successful to some degree against the Chiefs, like we're going to continue struggling. We're going to continue having issues. Like it is not our season. Already we're starting out 0-2, probably 0-3. Like it's not going to be our season. But to add to that, obviously, for those of you who don't know, there are some other big issues, which is another big part of why I think there's no way we beat the Chiefs. Is our defensive coordinator, Allen Williams, has got some shit going on. We don't 100% sure know what is going on, but we do know that Sunday night his home was raided by the FBI, and Monday the next morning, Hallis Hall was raided by the FBI. Eberflus has not said whether or not he is still the DC or will still have a position, but he currently is taking time away from the team.
Yeah, no.
So,
So they officially announced that he resigned as the Chicago Bears coach yesterday.
okay, so
Yeah,
he's officially gone, and so who's calling our defense?
it's going to
Eberflus?
be Eberflus for the rest of the year, which I'm okay with. I mean, that's what he made his bread and butter. But at the same time, you've mentioned it yourself. Coaches, head coaches, are meant to lead and to manage, not to call specialize on a certain offense or defense. And like this is going to take away from his management. And right now, the Bears need management because we are. There's a whole bunch of personalities going on in our locker room and it's going to take away from being able to manage everything.
Yeah. And
Um,
so this is just a huge issue just from uh, an administrative standpoint, not even administration necessarily, but just like the team as a whole. The team as a whole is just like absolutely struggling right now. It is more than just the players, it is more than play calling. It is like there is some shit going down in Hallis right now.
well, and this is, I mean, do you want to talk rumors? Because there's a lot of rumors out there. There's rumors that Charles Tillman, Peanut Tillman, came and told Eberflus and Ryan Poles about this. Charles Tillman works for the FBI. He's the one that told them before it even broke. There's rumors that Ryan Poles actually 2 hours ago reported that they never raided Hallis Hall. So there's speculation that they never raided Hallis Hall, but they did raid Alan Williams' home. There's also rumors stating that it's because of sexual assault of a minor and child pornography. And if that's the case, good riddance. I just no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are all rumors, so we don't want to, be spreading anything out there, but like the only thing we can confirm, he is no longer the DC. Supposedly his house was raided, that is confirmed. I guess House Hall is questionable, raided or not, but I mean, does that make any difference? Like the man's home got raided by the FBI. I don't think it matters if House Hall was or not. But so yes, goodbye, Alan Williams. We have Eberflus, and that is part of the issue that came up with the game against Tampa Bay. So we will get into our NFL games recap. The Bears did lose to Tampa Bay 27-17, which isn't horrible when you think about it. Defensively, like missing your defensive coordinator and still only allowing 27 points, like that's not a crazy high number, but you know,
Yeah. They made Baker Mayfield look like Drew Brees, dude. I mean, you can't say like it wasn't a terrible number. Mike Evans was running free all day long. Our secondary looked like ass. Justin Fields, like he struggled. Like he said, he's playing robotic out there, and you can see it. Like you saw all the leaps and bounds he made last year. That's why I'm not ready to give up on him. I don't care if he can't read. Like he can read a defense. He wouldn't have made it to the NFL if he couldn't read a defense. I hate when people say he can't read a defense. He can't read a defense. He wouldn't have not made it to the highest level as a first round pick if he couldn't read a defense. He can read a defense in some way, some regards. One thing about it is that maybe Luke Getzey and Justin Fields are just not a good match. Sometimes that happens.
yep.
One thing,
And with when he says like coaching can be an issue, there's it's good to coach your players up. You obviously want them to know what they're doing. You want to like correct mistakes that they're making, things like that and whatnot. But you can also get into the realm of trying to overcoach someone who just you need to just kind of let them play, as opposed to having everything be super coached and exact and specific. Sometimes you just need to tell a guy, hey, here's the job, get that done how you need to get it done.
I agree. And so going back to our secondary, right? Our secondary struggled mightily. I mean, Baker Mayfield literally threw for 317 yards. We made him look like a damn good quarterback. I'm not saying Baker's not good. I've defended Baker on this podcast. I've defended Baker in my personal life. But when Mike Evans goes off for 171 yards and he's 34 years old, I just, dude, no. I mean, where is not DJ Mayer? Where is Eddie Jackson? Where is all of that coming up? I just, one thing I'm frustrated that everybody is talking about the Bears. Like I like when people talk good things about the Bears, but I hate when the Bears are the national media highlight right now. And it sucks because like every podcast, every sports show, ESPN, NFL Network, anything that pops up, man, it's all about the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields being a bust. Justin Fields isn't blossoming, and I just don't know. I'm tired of hearing that. I want Justin Fields to have a game where he can shut everybody up because I'm tired of it. I'm not ready to give up on my quarterback. I feel confident in him. I love that he's done a lot for this city. He's a lot better than Mitch Trubisky, and I don't know, man. He usually says all the right things, so I'm not giving up on him. I'm sorry. That was my Justin Fields rant.
For sure.
I'm a big believer.
I'm not gonna say I'm giving up on him or anything like that. Like I'm not giving up on Fields. It's obviously our quarterback. We know he's got talent. We know he can do some things. But like I'm also not gonna go die hard over the barrel of like Justin Fields, like I don't know, like at some point, like this is his third season, this is his third year in, and you can make all the excuses in the book, whatever you want to say at the same time, but I need to see some production. Like we're getting to a standpoint as a coach or a GM or just anybody managing a team, like you got to produce or you got to not be the guy, like show us some production, get it going. Like we need to see something out of you. We need to see it now. If we don't see it, I'm sorry, but we are gonna part ways with Justin. And if he has not produced anything, like I am okay with that. Like I'm not going to die on the hill that he should be playing in Chicago for the next however long if he never shows to produce anything.
And that's the difference. I am not ready to give up on him. And even if he doesn't produce, I don't think it's that. I think it's the coaching staff. And all this stuff with Alan Williams, regarding back to Alan Williams, this is going to reflect on the whole coaching staff because Alan Williams was with Eberflus. I guarantee at the end of this year, the whole coaching staff is gone. Ryan Poles is going to clear house, especially if we go 4-12, 4-13, whatever it is. The whole coaching staff is gone, especially after this media madness and nightmare. This is not looking good.
Sure, but in this you have to take into account too that just this is not the only staff he's been under. Like, granted, we know that we did not love Pace or Nagy or that regime, but at the same time, he was under that regime for 2 years,
Yeah, 1
and
year.
so still, I'm just saying, 3 years as an NFL quarterback, you better show up or you better go.
I think he'll show everybody at the end of the year. I think probably week 6, week 5, week 6, he'll turn it on. We'll be all right. I think we'll be all right.
Will that be too late for him though?
No, I don't think so. And I don't think Tyson Bagent is the answer. Or
Agent.
Badgett, whatever his name is. Scrub. No, I'm kidding. I'm upset because I hate the fucking media. I'm sorry. We are the media, but fuck the media.
No, and I think that's just like I understand where you come from. You love the Bears and everything, and you're very, very attached to Justin Fields. But to that statement, you have to question a little bit. Like if Justin Fields is hurting the Bears, like if we are better off with Bagent, what do you love more, Justin Fields or the Bears? Like which one do you truly, truly love more? Because it can't be both. If in a theoretical world, I'm not saying this is absolutely 100% the case, but if Fields is hurting the Bears, like, do you want to hurt the Bears because you love Fields so much?
No, okay. And this is where it gets hard, right? I just think it doesn't matter who starts for the Chicago Bears. We're going to suck regardless at the quarterback position, always. I don't care if it was Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if it was Deshaun Watson. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. They're going to suck in Chicago regardless. It's a Chicago Bears curse. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry, but Justin Fields made me feel things that I never felt watching football last year. I've never felt that electricity and that fire from the quarterback position, being a Bears fan, we've always had such a shitty quarterback. And so when I see that and I see that potential, I never saw that under Mitch. Even his 6 touchdown performance, I never saw that. Jay Cutler, yeah, he had some stuff, but he had no heart. I mean, and then prior, like it's just Justin has so much potential, and I
Okay,
don't
but
think this
last
thing.
facts, last thing on the Bears, and we got to move on because we're
All
starting to
right,
run out of a little bit of time. But I get you fell in love with his potential, but
yeah,
it's been 3 years. So at what point does potential wear off when you're seeing a lack of that potential actually coming into something?
I think about 10-year mark. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I just know I defend him with everything I have because he's my quarterback.
For sure, and I get that. But we are running low on time now, so we will move on to some of our other recapped games. Obviously, not obviously, I don't know why I have to say that, but we had the Browns versus Steelers, and Pittsburgh pulled that one off. That was a nail biter, 26-24. Biggest reason we have to mention this game is because Nick Chubb suffered an injury to his leg, and I don't know how many people actually saw it, but if
It's
you looked
disgusting.
up the true video later, it is something to see. Did you look it up? Did you actually see it? Did you watch
Yeah, it's bad. And you know it's crazy because this is the second time a similar injury has happened. He did that in at Georgia too.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, so this is the second time. You'll have to look up the Georgia one at some point. It's just as gruesome. So
Is it the same leg?
I don't know. I actually didn't go that deep into it. I just saw the same injury at Georgia. I'm like, ooh, 2 times. I think this, when we hear about this a lot, but we don't see it very often. This could be a career-ending injury for Nick
Yeah,
Chubb,
this
which is crazy because
this
he's
is
one of the
this one
best
is
running
bad,
backs. Yeah,
especially for a running back. Like running backs already have a pretty short-term career. Like they get banged up really hard, and it's tough for them to have a long career. And when you have something like this happen, especially that you're taking a year off, and just like it's hard to come back from that. It's hard to come back from that, especially given the position that you play, where you're normally out in
yeah.
5 years at the most, maybe.
Oh, also, the Browns did re-sign Kareem Hunt yesterday because of this injury.
Pulling him
So
back on.
Kareem Hunt's now a Cleveland Browns once again. I kind of figured that with him still being a free agency, like he knows the system, he knows how to play, and he's going to be a good running back for the Browns. Um, but yeah, no man, and Kenny Pickett didn't look great. I mean, they just lucked into Nick Chubb dying on the field. Okay, we can't say that. DeMar Hamlin died on the field. But anyways, yeah, it was bad, dude. It was bad.
It was really rough watching. I had to when you were watching it live, you could hear they showed the replay in the stadium, and you can hear the crowd all go, "Oh," because they replayed it, and
But
I
they
was
wouldn't
so
replay it. They
I was
didn't. They didn't
on
replay
the
it on TV.
TV. On the
Yeah,
TV they didn't. And I was so upset that they didn't replay it on the TV because I was like, I want to see this shit. Like the crowd just made a big ooh. I have to see exactly what fucking happened. So I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that is a big yikes.
yeah, not good,
But next game we got going on here, Dolphins versus Patriots. Avery, I'll let you talk about this one.
dude. Tua is a beast. I'm sorry. Tua's just got everything going on with him in Miami. Remember 2 years ago when people were talking about Tua being a bust, Tua not figuring it out, Tua not being able to do anything, and then he got the right coach and Mike McDaniel. He got Tyreek Hill, and now look at Tua Tagovailoa. Blah. Yeah, he looks amazing, and so That's why I say never give up on a quarterback too soon. But Tua's figuring it out. Tua's balling out this year. I mean, last game this year so far he has 715 yards, 4 TDs, and 2 interceptions. Um, I'm just proud of Tua. I mean, I have a connection with Tua too. So, um,
What draft class was Tua
Tua
relative to
was
Fields?
2018.
And Fields was
Was Tua? 2020. Or no, Fields was draft 2021 or 2020. Tua was in 2020 and Fields was in 21.
Okay, so a year before Fields.
Yep. But still, I think Tua's figuring it out, and I think Tua figured it out. I think he's got it down. He's a great NFL quarterback. People judge him because he's left-handed, but man, he can throw the ball, and Tyreek Hill can go catch that ball.
And so can Waddle.
Fun.
Don't forget
Yeah.
that they got Waddle there too.
Yeah, and Jalen Waddle. And you know what's crazy, man? They have Vic Fangio. Their defense is starting to turn it on this year, too. Vic Fangio is a great defense coordinator. I think the Dolphins are the team to beat in the AFC East.
Dolphins have been looking pretty good. They looked pretty good last year. Like, they didn't look too bad. Bills-Dolphins was a real good matchup. We obviously know the Bills moved on at the end of the season there, but Dolphins, they definitely came back with something to prove as well. Last game to recap here. Sorry, going to move on a little bit. Last game to recap, we've got Rams, 49ers. 49ers did pull it off 30-23. What was the big thing with this game? What do we want to talk about?
So the Rams were down 30-20, and there was 2 seconds left, and the Rams kicked a field goal, and the odds was plus 7.5 for the Rams, and them kicking that field goal pretty much made it hit. So I don't know who Sean McVay knows that put all their money on the Rams, but he made them money. But no, and we talk about 49ers a lot. Brock Purdy looked good once again. George Kittle had a good game. I mean, the 49ers are just fun to talk about.
So, in theory, you're down 10 points. You got to score a touchdown and a field goal to win anyway. What's the difference between doing the touchdown first or the field goal first?
Right, but there was 2 seconds left in the game, dude.
Was
2. No, I know.
So why not take the easy points and get?
Right.
I'm not saying because of the spread. But in my head, the way I think, like I stated earlier, I want points. I want to get as many points as possible. In a loss, I want it to be as close as possible. In a win, I want it to be as egregious as possible. So in theory, when you're thinking like, okay, what's the easier points? Trying to score a touchdown here or just taking the field goal and only losing by 7? In my head, I take the field goal to only lose by 7. Regardless of spread, regardless of anything, like that's just what I do.
I just feel like it's loser mentality in a way. And I'm not like coming at you in that regard.
How can you not?
I mean, I think
you lost. You need 10 points in 2 seconds. How is that loser mentality?
And the reason I'm saying,
guess what?
I know, the reason I'm saying it's loser mentality, just kneel out the ball. Like there's no shot in hell. There's no shot in hell you're gonna score 10 points in 2 seconds. Kneel out the ball. They shouldn't even kick the field goal. Why do they have to kick a field goal on first down?
Because you don't take a knee when you're down. Like the formation is called victory formation.
Okay,
you not run the ball. Victory formation just when you're down.
Run the ball. I just don't get it. I just think it's stupid.
I just told you what it is. Why run the ball?
Points don't matter unless you're Brian Ferentz.
But like look, that's just I'm telling you from a coach's perspective. Like you want to lose as close of a margin as possible, regardless of if you lost. You want that margin to be lessened. I don't know if it makes differences potentially later on as far as like wild cards go and so I know it's all record, but if records are ties, like I don't know what all that comes down to, but there is a world of theoretical thought where like losing by 7 compared to losing by 10 makes a difference. And if it truly doesn't, whatever. That's just a coach's mentality. You want a loss to be as close of a loss as possible just to look better, like media-wise. I'm just telling you, I take the field goal there because I would rather lose by 7 than 10. Just running the ball and just lose it, like to me, that's a loser mentality. Like, oh, we lost, just fucking run it, and who fucking cares about any more points? That's a loser mentality.
Oh man. I guess we'll agree to disagree on this one. But the funny thing is, moving on to the upcoming games, we kind of already talked about the Bears and the Chiefs, but the Broncos and the Dolphins. How do you feel? Yeah, that's your team. Didn't
I
you
think
resign as a Bears fan?
I
I,
did.
I, I have I have it in written letter that you are resigned as a Bears fan and you are a Broncos fan. So how do you feel?
Oh,
Good too, Russell
I don't
Wilson.
feel great. The Broncos, I'm sure, lose to the Dolphins. I don't even know. What are they? 0-2? Did
Yeah.
they win a game?
No.
Yeah, they're 0-2.
Yeah.
Oh man, they lost by 2 to the Commander. Damn, that was a high scoring game. Yeah,
It
no, the
was.
Broncos lose to the Dolphins. I don't doubt that. The only thing I can say to effect of the Broncos, I was questioned like, is that any better? Like Broncos Bear, like, are you gaining anything out of that right now? In my head, yeah, the Broncos have lost by 1 point and by 2 points. I can live with that. The Bears have lost by, I don't remember, week 1, and then week 2 is 10 points, and the Bears just look hella. I haven't watched the Broncos, so I guess I can't. I don't know what they look like, but the Bears look bad. So
That's fair. That's fair. I think Dolphins pull it off too. I mean, Tua, like I mentioned, great quarterback. And so yeah, I think Dolphins. That's a 12 o'clock game on Sunday, so that'll be
yep.
cool to watch. But my evidently new favorite team. I also resigned as a Bears fan. I am officially a Las Vegas Raiders fan. We'll see how long that lasts. But I just did it because I want a steady and consistent quarterback, and at least I have that over there in Jimmy Garoppolo. And so, but yeah, they play the Steelers this week. I think Raiders could go to 2-1. The Steelers don't look that good this year. I mean, they've struggled throughout the year. I mean, they got smoked by San Francisco. Raiders, they beat Broncos, your favorite team,
They did. I won.
17-16. But and then last week, who did the Raiders play last week?
The Raiders played the. Oh, I don't know. I'm looking at the Steelers. The Steelers, yeah, got blown up by the 49ers. That's expected. Played the Browns kind of close. One sec. I'll look at the Raiders right here. They played the Bills.
Bills. Oh yeah, we got killed. Yeah,
Yes.
38-10. So I don't know. Maybe we do.
So to me, that's a hard one to say. For your sake, I will put my hat with the Raiders. Also, just for Jimmy G's sake, I've always liked Jimmy G. I liked him with the Niners, all that jazz. But I'll support the Raiders in this one. We got to start looking up spreads. We don't have spreads on any of these. That's what we need to see.
For sure, man. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's it.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say. So Avery, go ahead and follow us on YouTube. Go like and subscribe to all our stuff. Go watch our TikTok, whatever. Support the pod.
For sure. Go Hawks and bear down.